All right, everyone. We are now ready for our last session. Are you ready? Are you ready for our last session? Do you believe we've already gone through 2 sessions for the day? So we pull up presentation. This is my challenge. I don't like. All right, so I'm not going to be in presentation mode just because I have a lot of things going on my screen that I need access to. But this is our last presentation, so don't go too fast. I know, right? There's so much things that we want to share. But what we want you to do is just, keep your eyes open over the next school year. You'd see that we're sharing things, even the videos that were the series that I did recently on AI skills for students, like 3-minute videos. Pay attention to those things because, we honestly and truly don't have all the time that we could use. But the sessions are being recorded. And actually, once the recording is ended and it has been processed, you should be able to access the recording right from the same chat that you are now in with Teams. In Teams, you'll notice in Teams, if you go to your chat or to your chat panel or to your activity panel, you'll see the chat for each of the 3 sessions. And once you open it up and you scroll, you'll be able to see the recordings there. But like I promised to, by Friday, I'll send out a follow-up email to all of the attendees, even those who didn't attend once you would have registered. And that follow-up email will have the links to the 3 recordings as well as links to the 3 assessments. So if you missed it, or you're perhaps on the road and you're just listening in and you want to be able to still take the assessment, you have until the end of the summer to do your assessment and get your certificate. Okay? So today, we are now in this last session, we will be talking about AI and the student, which is really one of our biggest concerns as educators. We are happy, we all gung-ho, we ready for AI to be our assistant. But we are quite hesitant about AI use for the student, right? All right, so let's get started. We have our same presentation team with us today. One of the things that I want to highlight for us, and I need us as educators to understand this, if students think they are cheating by using AI, they'll only become better at cheating, not thinking, right? And but even before we get to students and AI, I think I want to ask some questions. So in our last session, we went through creating forecast notes and all of that, right? In using AI. Oh, my volume. Let me check out my settings. Hold on 1 second. Maybe my mic changed. How is it now? Is it any better? Oh, I am breaking up. Okay, I don't know. Other than the internet just being poor, I don't know what else to do. But I'll pay attention to the chat to see what is happening. Okay. So as I said, AI is increasingly, thank you so much. It is increasingly acting like a learning buddy for students. It can help them to explain, summarize, guide, and also coach students, right? But before we talk about AI, we need to talk about us a little bit. Talk to us about our understanding of its use. So in our last session, we went through a whole demo of how to use AI to generate your forecast notes, right? Now, how many of you happy and will be fine with submitting that forecast notes once it's already trained properly and it's giving you exactly what you need, submitting that to your administrator um, for assessment, for evaluation? Raise your hand if you see nothing wrong with that. All right. You could say, yes, I would, I would, I would. Yes, yes, yes. All right, cool. So we were able to no, I get all these notification sounds and hold on 1 second, guys. Okay. Okay. I think I was able to solve that one of the problems. All right. So yes, I see someone say they would. Yes, they would submit that. Of course, you would check first and then you would submit, right? That's fair. Now, how would you feel if your administrator took your forecast notes and ran it through GPT to evaluate it, like how I did it with the students' work, and then it produced feedback? Do you see anything wrong with that? Let me ask the question direct. Do you see anything wrong with that? If the administrator take your forecast notes and they put it through the GPT and they send the feedback, would you have a problem with that? All right. Especially if the feedback coming like how we saw the feedback coming like the AI did, right? All right. It's good to know. Good to know. It's good to know. Now, we know that they use that, the way that they evaluate you on your forecast notes or on your lesson plans for your ACR at the end of the day, right? So if the AI tool is being used to evaluate your formal lesson plan that you wrote, any problems with that, with them using that for that? I just want to make sure. We still in the no realm, right? Okay. All right. Now we move over to students. Oh, I like that question. Would it be given a rubric guide first? Yeah, if they're using the right rubric or whatever, you know. Now let's move over to students. Students generate something inside GPT and they submit that to you. Not okay, 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 not okay. Let me just get this link. All right, new link, new link, new link. All right, so let's see what some persons say. They said, all GPT or partially, I guess you were asking, okay, if they review it and have it at their level. I don't think AI should evaluate a teacher's lesson plan or forecast. Ooh, I want to dig up in that a little bit, Rochelle Camp. But let's go on, right? The reason why I brought that up is because sometimes as teachers, we could be a little bit hypocritical, you know, in terms of it's okay for me to use it, but it's not okay for you to use it. Oh, you know, like how your parents used to say, do as I say and not as I do. But at the end of the day, the tool comes across to us as a tool that we could use, that should be helpful to us. And the thing is we would give the justification that we're using the tool to help us along, right? A part of this whole day that we were talking about was giving you ideas, giving you tips, giving you strategies on how to get the tool to help you do your work. Students need these types of engagements too, so that they can understand how to get AI to help them do the work and not just do the work, right? So we're going to take this one slowly. Share my screen. So one of the first things that we have to do, though, is we have to remove the taboo around AI use. We have to normalize normalize thoughtful AI use. And when I say remove the taboo, it is almost like as soon as you say don't, and especially for something that is so easy and so amazing, you're telling students not to use it. Pretty much what you're telling them to do is pretend like you're not using it, because they're gonna use it. Lie to me and tell me you're using it. Flam me and tell me you use it and don't use it. All right. So if we remove that taboo in terms of normalized, thoughtful AI use, we can help students to use AI properly, and then we could get better results or better output from students. So some of those, the action steps that we can actually do. Openly talk about AI as a tool. Openly talk about AI as a tool, like a calculator, dictionary, or even a tutor. So inside the math class, you will have them using a calculator. You would show them if it's a new thing, and you would demonstrate, model how to use the tool properly. You would model how to use, show them, teach them how to use the dictionary, the thesaurus. AI is just another tool. The challenge that we've been having is the students are learning it and we are not. The students are learning to use it and we are not telling them how to use it properly. I remember one time ago, I used to be so annoyed. They really cut down on it a lot. But remember, like, how people used to just be recording fights, and soon as a murder happened or something, they send in pictures and recording dead people. And you remember, like, it was a lot of that going along. We wise up a little bit more. And in my mind, I'm like, how could they not understand that this is not right to do? They could take their phone and they could turn their camera on and record a fight. You know, a fight break out, the first thing you do is you grab your phone and start to record. So then you're trying to tell me that we can't teach children to take that same video, turn that camera around and do an explainer video, maybe teach a child how to teach another child how to do something else, to create a video on the steps in the process for bread making, to create a video on that. That's because the only thing they know to use the video for, or the video feature, recording feature for, was to record fights or send something out there. You understand? And honestly, if we already know this like plain facts, most of the moral instruction some of these students will get will be from us in the classroom. But somehow we believe there's some sort of moral angel somewhere inside some of these students' houses that could tell them right or wrong. And we could tell it because we know the environment that the students are living in. They can't automatically assume or automatically do certain things well and correct and even thinking well. So we need to get over it as educators. Yes, we want parents to do better, but the fact is some of them can't do better because they're still children too. So anyhow, we need to be open about its use. Open about its use. And if you're open about its use, even when you use it, and this is one of the things that we've been trying to model for you all as well in this presentation, show you how I use AI, and as well as the thought process of it, of generating what I want. So go to class and open up Copilot. And then say, all right, so for today's lesson, we're going to, AI is going to help us learn this topic. And you could say, I have in the next period, I will do, in the next period, I will use my PowerPoint presentation that I had for 6 years. But in this lesson, we're going to see how AI can help us learn this particular topic. And just how we just went to GPT and then we go on and you just go through it with the students. And that is a way of modeling, showing how we are using it. You see Meta on your phone. Some students didn't have access to AI, let's say ChatGPT or whatever, because a lot of children wouldn't go on the like on the browser. But now that Meta is on the phone inside WhatsApp, and WhatsApp is what you call it, 0 rated. You don't think we have to show children how to use that? We do. Teach students, the second action step, teach students that using AI is not cheating. It is how you use AI that matters. The cheating comes in when you submit it, not use it. The cheating comes in, and I even have to say not when you submit it. It depends on how you submit or what it is that you actually submitted. All right. But as soon as we could break that taboo around AI use, even for us as educators, you'll have some administrators who might say, oh, all they're doing is using AI lesson plans. And then I will say, so what? And that's lovely. And then I will ask them, so what are you going to do? What does that mean? If the teacher is using AI to generate lesson plans, what does that mean? Okay, that means that they now have help in creating a perfect plan. How are they executing that? How are they taking that paper into practice? But if we go there and just start, oh no, child, they can't be using this lesson plan because it's AI generated. We can't use this because it's AI generated. We just got an excellent lesson plan that the objectives are layered from beginning to end. They help me with that. The key comes in the execution. If a teacher is unable to execute that, and then as a supervisor, I could also go in and say they have an excellent plan, but they fell down in some areas in execution. What strategies can I recommend? So it can help us all out. But just like how we may think, oh, I can't use this, or a person should not use this, it's the students as well. So what teachers will do, if you know, your school say, well, don't use AI. You can still use AI, and then what you could do is go and fix it up. You know, because you want them to think that it was you doing it. And that's what students will do. All right. So share it, model for it, model. Now I see some persons asking to come back in the room. This is a new link. So you can't go back into that old link room. So if y'all see somebody inside the chat asking to get back, what they actually need is that new link. Post it, repost it for me, please, whenever it comes up again. Next, we need to show students that we use AI as a thinking partner, not just an answer machine. It is an answer machine. It's a powerful answer machine. We love the answer machine, but it can also be used as a thought partner. So what are we talking about? Some actions that you could do. Instead of banning AI, teach students to interact with it critically, where we question its output, refine its output, challenge its output. We want to encourage students to use AI to explain concepts and skills that suits their preferences, right? They can, and that's key. We're going to show you that example in a moment. And we want to encourage students to use AI to extend ideas, not start them. Let them lead the creativity. So at this time, I'm going to call on um, Qutell. Qutell, she will give us a demonstration on how we can model, and once again, this is modeling for students, how to use AI as a thought partner.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Now, we're going to model for our students how to properly use ChatGPT. So I'm going to quickly share my screen. Voila. Now, just like how we would tell any form of AI that, hey, I'm a teacher and I need help with this, you have to let your students know to let them know that they are a student. So I am a fifth grade student and I love Get Ready with Me videos. Because, some of these children be on TikTok and they trying to do their own Get Ready with Me videos. Like, what you getting ready for? To go to school? That's it. But if that's what they love, that's what they love. Now, we're going to connect this Get Ready with Me video with a social studies topic. Let's talk about piracy. So, I'm a fifth grade student and I love Get Ready with Me videos. But I need to learn about pirates. Now, pirates could be a wide topic. Let's go to the primary curriculum and get the objectives that we need them to focus on. And we got to teach the students to be responsible for their own learning. This information is online, guys. Tell them to go online, pull the objectives, pull the content, and they're going to go ahead, copy it, go back to ChatGPT, just paste that in, really using these objectives. Wow, paste. And then let's see what magic happens. That sounds fun. Let's learn about pirates. Oh, step one, meet the pirates and buccaneers. Oh, so first, I'm putting on my explorer's hat because they doing their little get ready with me strip. First, I'm putting on my explorer's hat because we need to identify the famous pirates of this century. Black Bear, Edward Teach. See, I'm intending to be a fifth grade student. I don't really speak like this all the time. Okay, so we introduce the pirates and then we do step two. Let me add some bold eyeshadow because now it's time to discuss pirate activities. Woo! Some all of it about gold and spices. Since we talking about gold and spices, let me get my gold eyeshadow out, some black eyeliner because I'm fierce like a pirate. Rawr. I know it's fun, right? Okay, and then we talk about the effects and say, who clean up this mess? So let me go clean up my eyeshadow. We got to make sure I put some concealer around because I have I had a late night, guys. So I need to get rid of my bags. You can imagine a fifth grade student talking about they get bags underneath their eyes. So they got cleaned up with concealers. But anyway, let me put on my fancy coat, just like Wood Rogers, because he was cleaning up the Bahamas. Clean up man. Woo. Hey, and then we talk about Rogers. Now, mind you, after they finish doing their quick recap, the little summary, after the get ready with me, check on my fit, guys. The young people say that. Check on my fit. Now I'm ready to go and slay pirates. Oh. So after they finish talking about all the pirates and everything like that, at the end of when they finish doing the video, you can ask them all kinds of questions. Okay, since you did this video, what did you learn about the pirates? Hey, would you want to live in Nassau during pirate times? Why do you think people like pirates even though they do bad things? What do you think made Wolf Rogers a good leader? So we have where they're having fun, but they're also questioning themselves. They aren't just, oh, let me just hurry up, go and do it. No, I'm learning. I'm having fun, but I'm also going to be on the curriculum. I'm going to be on the lesson. And that's what you want your students to do. They're using AI to help them learn. They're thinking partners. So it isn't that they're cheating. They're not cheating. They're having fun. They're enjoying it. Can you see yourselves doing this inside a classroom where you are creating content learners who are also responsible for their learning, their own learning? Come on, guys, tell me. Can you have fun in your lesson with your students doing this? Any topic.
All right. Thank you.
Say no.
And
What?
I see some thumbs up. So another thing is too, Q, for teachers, what you have to remember is everything doesn't have to be graded. This isn't an assignment. What this is a task. And because they see, we're concerned about that. Remember, we said we were using this as a learning for students as a learning tool, right? Now we took all of that was that piracy notes or whatever, and you could tell them, go, create the video, and they'll probably want that video. They'll want to create that video. You don't really have to create that. Give them the same worksheet that you would give them, anyhow. But now they have the knowledge in their head because they had to apply it in this fun way. You no need to go and make it difficult. Tell them, yeah, go and create. Those who don't have access to the technology, create the script. Let them think they're going to do a presentation when they come to class next week. Then what they will do, memorize the script. But no, you flip the script and say, all right, here's your worksheet. Put your information down on the paper. Same worksheet you used from 6 years ago. And then, remember, this is also used. So just how we did this, we could think of another way, other ways that we can help, that AI can now help us to learn, which would be normally boring topics or difficult topics. We could have it now. AI can help us to apply it to, an area of interest for us. All right. And that's how we could, but it's modeling, showing them how it is, how to do this. They probably won't get it from off of the first go. And then just like how when we started our session today, some persons were quick to say, I did this with AI in my class. I did that with AI in my class. You'll hear some students say, oh, well, I did this. Removing that taboo, remember? What we're doing is removing that taboo. This is, oh, but when I did it, I did this. And I did that. And then now we're sharing ideas. And always remember, guys, and I always tell my team to always go back to what the curriculum objectives are. Because mind you, we'll have children doing and creating wonderful things that are around the topic, but still can't meet the objectives or skills that we set out to do. Nice, engaging activity is students all into it, but at the end of the day, the objectives or the main skills that the students need to acquire in that particular lesson aren't met. So we need to be careful about that when we're looking at student activities. All right. Let me share now and continue in terms of AI. So next up, we talk about designing assignments that reward process and not just product. And I know this is easier said than done, especially when we consider preparing students for national examinations, right? Because national examinations, we appreciate the product, eh? But if we could get the process right, the product will be good. So when grades are based only on final answers, it encourages shortcut seeking. Shift now focuses on how students got there. So a couple of actions or strategies, you could require students to document their thinking process, including AI prompts and what they use. And you could include reflection questions like, how did AI help you think differently? And this one I know is something that's going to be quite, this one is going to be difficult for us on the whole, not just students, but even for us as adults, because we don't engage much with reflective practice, right? Even in our teaching, in our work, reflective practice. We do things, we get the output, but we move on because we don't have time for that. Right? We just don't have time. But in order to push critical thinking, we have to involve and give students and ourselves opportunities for reflection, thinking about our thinking, which is the metacognition, but we'll talk about that later. So right now, Thompson will come in showing us an activity that helps students with the process.
Yes. So like Ms. Wilson was saying, when it comes to now AI, this is going to be kind of difficult for us all because we're still trying to figure it out. So when it comes now to process and product, we are not just looking at the final product, but the process, how they got to this. So what we're going to do, we are going to create a fun, engaging explainer video. Okay, so I'm just going to paste because I already created a prompt. Script for a 4th grade student that teaches how to solve the division problem 4,682 divided by 12. And let's see what Chadi is going to do. So this is the teacher now creating the script to give to the students. Dividing and conquered with detective digits. It ain't sound as good as the pirates, but okay, we can work with that. So welcome, math detectives. Okay, so you have your little intro. Then it goes on. Detective digits. All right, team, let's break it down using long divisions. Don't worry. We'll go step by step. So this is what we're giving to the students first. So now it has the step by step for each scene. So first we divide the 4 by 12. Detective digits. So as you go through, you can see it has each step. Step 1, step 2, step 3, bring down the 8, bam. So what we want to do with this, we're going to give this to the students, but we're going to change the questions. So now I want my students to create their own explainer video. They're not going to use AI. They're going to do it, let's say analog. Can I use that word? Well, so they're going to use their minds and they're going to use the script as a guideline. And then we can then go in to see how close they are or correct they are. And then I took it a little step ahead and I want to ask Shadi to create a rubric for this to help me when I'm going through the script to assess them. Okay, so they created their own, they have a whole different question. And in less than 3 seconds, Chatty created this rubric for me that you don't have to use it, but it's going to help me when it comes to marking them with this script. So I'm not just looking for the product, but the process, how they got to that answer. Thank you.
And that's good. Thank you, Kenisha. I think too, for something like this, even with the example that Qutell gave earlier, you can give the student the prompt for homework. Say, this is the prompt that I want you to use in AI tonight. And then you could even put like brackets around things that they can change out to make it personalized. Okay? And then you could work it like that. So for this particular example where we're looking at the process, you could, like say, the easiest thing, sometimes the easiest thing to really determine process is have students do a learning journal. So you could take, if you're teaching health science and you just taught the respiratory system, you also could ask them, and Charlie could also help you with that as well, to give you reflective questions, students that reflective questions that have students question and think about what they know about the respiratory system so far and how it applies to their daily lives. Now, the challenge, and this is one of the areas that education, if we don't get it together, and I'm not talking about Ministry of Education, full stop. I'm talking about education sector and the whole education of the world. If we don't get it together, if we continue to just stay focused, examination focused, we're going to miss these opportunities for real life application. Because what we end up doing is we end up focusing so much on the way that students need to complete the BGCSE and the BJC paper. We take out and we forget, or I should say we downplay the real life application. So we're talking about respiratory system, and yes, we do the little application stuff, but with AI now we could bring that in. Talk about my respiratory system. They got their little iPhones and iWatches, and they say what their breathing rate is. How are they using their own breathing rate, their own health data to now apply their health science skills. But as a teacher, we don't have to think about these things anymore. AI could give us some of the recommendations and give the students the guidelines that they need to get it done. So just some examples there. And then, like I say, what you're looking at is you're not thinking about the end product. Yes, the end product is great, but how did you get there? So with that long division, maybe what a teacher would do is generate that script and then put like wrong information in one of those places, in one of those steps. It's wrong. And the student now has to go inside there and determine, the teacher could come and say, I generated this from ChatGPT, so I need you to check this for me. And the students now evaluate. You know that you could tell ChatGPT to generate it with one element being wrong, so that you don't have to think about it. And now the students be like, you get this from ChatGPT, yeah, you get that from ChatGPT, or from AI, and I'd say 4 times 2 is 78. And then you'll say, that's just what I tell you, you need to pay attention. So what do I need to do to pay attention when you generate things from AI? What is it that I need to change in this step? And then you keep on going. But we need to have the open conversation. When we go right out to condemnation with children, don't use it. Then they close their ears, because that's how we used to do when our parents start talking about don't. In our heads, we singing a Sesame Street song because we're paying attention, right? But remove the taboo. Next, in terms of our students and AI, we want to, that was design assessments, we want to model, and that's what we've been doing all along, model AI use in the classroom. Students learn by example. If they see you using AI to generate ideas, summarize readings, or brainstorm, they'll learn to use it responsibly. So some examples, you can demonstrate how to use ChatGPT or CanMigo to rephrase complex ideas, and we showed you that in one of the examples before. So yes, so these are the notes that you have. This is the complete notes. This is how you can use AI to make it a little simpler for you when you get home. So when you get home, you go ahead and you run that through your AI, and you learn that in the way that you need to learn that. And then when you come back, you still have to sit the standardized test that I given everybody else. How to check, you want to demonstrate, but you have to demonstrate how to do that. Demonstrate how to check if AI response is accurate or biased, and we'll show you, that'll be our demonstration for this one. You also want to demonstrate how to use AI to get unstuck and not avoid the work. I noticed someone had put in the chat in the last session saying how these students so lazy, they will take the F. And that's the thing, they will take the F. And that's why I'm glad homework for us is only worth 10%. Let them go and do what they need to do. My God, you present. I remember in grade 1, if a student brought back work, that used to be A. Because just the fact that you bring homework back completed, you get that for the effort. Because good Lord, you can't get some work for some students, but place greater value on what is done in the classroom, right? That you could proctor, you could monitor. And then you want to show how to use AI to improve your work. So remember that demonstration I did with the writing, where I am showed, give me feedback off of each session. Show the students that, and if you're doing it inside the classroom, you're taking a picture and doing it, and they seeing you doing that, they'll know, before I bring this to Miss Knowles, let me try this and see what they can tell me. If it's something for homework or whatever the case may be. Once again, they're going to use the tool and they're going to use it for homework. But in our minds, we have to let that homework score go in our brains. In our minds, yes, they produce the AI work, but we need to ensure that when they come inside the classroom, they're able to apply what they would have researched in their AI work in the classroom. All right. So for this demonstration, Ms. Bostwick, she's going to do exactly that in terms of showing modeling how to model researching with AI.
All right, so we're going to start here in our curriculum, and this is Language Arts 10 through 12 Senior High curriculum, and we're going to model doing research properly. The first thing I did was search for persuasive, so I just want to find an objective for a persuasive piece of writing. Found that, and the one that we are going to use right here, write a persuasive essay. Then we go over to ChatGPT. Of course, I had to do a sample, but we're just going to get started as if we're starting afresh right here. So I just open a new chat and then we get off to using Chatty. So here I am going to ask ChatGPT to generate. First thing I'm going to ask is to generate a, a persuasive prompt for grade 11 students. First thing we do. And there we go. Here is a persuasive prompt. Should social media platforms be held legally responsible for the mental effects their content has on teenagers? So this is a prompt here. If you don't like this one, you can always go ahead and ask for give me another one. And you could be a little more specific in what exactly you are looking for. Should students be required to wear school uniforms? I think we'll go with this. So then we are going to take it another step forward in that we are going to ask Chatty to give us a guide. All right, so generate a guide for, so I am going to act as the student now. So the teacher already created the prompt and gave the prompt to the students. I am a student. Okay. Generate a guide to help me write this essay. And so here's a step-by-step guide. Understand the prompt, choose your position, and then plan your essay. Here we go with the three body paragraphs and then the introduction, sorry, body paragraphs, then the conclusion. Fine. So this is the guide to help me to write this essay. So I'm going to zone in on the first body paragraph. All right. Or I'm going to go in with the first body paragraph. I'm going to say create the first body paragraph for me and use sources or include sources. All right. So this is the first body paragraph and sources are in it. Now I'm going to ask, please give the links. All right, so all of the links are here for each of the for the first body paragraph that we would have gotten. And so you would have noticed, guys, I am telling AI exactly, I'm telling ChatGPT exactly what I want. And so now, as the student, as well as what the teacher can also do, is go in and check these sources. We want to make sure that we are using correct sources. We are not using blogs or Wikipedia or opinion sites. We want to make sure that we are also not falling into the trap of AI being a taboo. So if we model this in the classroom for the students, they would feel a bit more comfortable when they go home to use AI in the same way. And so now we are just showing them, and this is just a guide because at the end of it all, we can always go back and we can change the topic. We can say, okay, using those same sources, you're going to answer these questions or you're going to formulate a different essay on a different topic. All right. So this is the first source. We're going to open the link here. Oops. Give it a minute. There we go. All right. So page not found. So is this something that we are going to use in our essay? No, we cannot use it. And this is the point of checking the sources because AI can give you anything.
AI can give you anything. Imagine if I was trying to turn this in as a student and then I turn this in to my teacher and, I act as if I wrote this on my own. And the first thing my teacher does is open that first source and whoop, roadblock, page not found. All right. So, of course, that's disappointing. And then we're going to go to the second source, open link, redirecting. And this takes us directly to looks like a journal. Takes us directly to a journal article, and we can see that this is a credible source here. All right. So that is why it is very important, guys, for us to make sure that we check. We encourage our students to check their sources because I know in previous sessions, persons talked about coursework, and a lot of times in coursework, you have to be able to cite your sources, and that is why this is important. All right.
And I know what you're thinking, like, oh my goodness, we're showing them how to go in and just have AI do all of the work, right? And I'm going to reiterate this. We have to consider when we're giving students assessment, what it is that we are assessing. Do you remember when we had to learn how to go through the library and use the Dewey Decimal System? And how to read what those numbers, the little sticker on the back. Do you remember when we had to learn how to use an encyclopedia? Yes, because now we were learning how to do research. So when you look at it, especially those of you doing online programs, all of your research is done online. Nobody going in, I mean, don't say nobody, but who's going up to the libraries that exist to go look for actual physical books and journals? We might end up in the UB library every once in a while, right? You might end up in there to look for some sort of document inside there. But nowadays they're telling you anyway, you can't use any documents, any sources older than 10 years unless it's seminal work anyhow, right? So, but all of our reference materials nowadays, or the majority of our reference materials are online. And prior to using AI, and we could think about those of you doing your master's degree and doctoral degree, if you are colleges, they have their online library, right? And then they teach you how to use the online library. And all you're doing is putting in your topic or putting in the search word. And then what does it do? It will search and it will pull all of the articles that align to it. What is the next step that you do? Then you take those articles and you read through those articles to determine whether or not it is applicable to your topic, right? And then if it is, and you can use it, then you go and you write your 3 sentences, you go write your 2 sentences or whatever it is, and you add it inside your paper. Do you see now with AI how the research, I don't want to say the research process, but the way that we research is going to, well, not change, but become simpler? So yes, now with it being so smart, they are now attaching these GPT tools to journal sources, to actual credible documents, journals, or whatever out there. And so getting wrong information is going to become less and less on with AI. It's going to be more accurate, more on point. So now we're working with students. So Kevra showed you, okay, yes, we generated the prompt. In front of your students, you start with that first part. Give me the outline for how to write my paper. This is a tip, another tip. I think, I can't remember if I said it before. If you have to write a paper, especially like a large paper, don't ask for the whole paper one time. GPT gets lazy too. AI gets lazy too. By the time as you reach the fourth, fifth paragraph, then things being summarized and whatever. But if you take that outline and then you take it one by one, say, okay, let's do the first paragraph. And what it is doing is it forcing me to engage with the content. And so, Kevra, scroll up for me, please, to what they produced as your first paragraph. So here, so now as I read through this, if I read through this and I don't like the tone, I don't like I already checked and saw that that first link that they provided was incorrect. I could say to them, no, we can't use this particular source. I need you to change the source. Perhaps look for something inside the Caribbean. What am I making? Is the AI doing the research for me? It's assisting me with the research. It's going out there, finding the research and bringing it and pretty much asking me, is this what you want? Is this what you want? No, I don't want that. Yes, this is what I want. Now, once again, consider your objectives. Consider what it is that you want. Students are supposed to gain from this assignment. This is persuasive writing. What are the if this is a persuasive piece, what are the skills of persuasive writing that we should be coming up with? Students need to be able to use persuasive language. Okay? They need to have their evidence or sources to back up. So make sure that we're keeping our eyes on what we're supposed to be keeping our eyes on. And if you're giving them, and you modeling, once again, you modeling in the classroom, and you're giving this for them for homework, they still have to do some sort of activity around that in the classroom. But it's better we show them the right way, because all you will be doing is wasting your time marking AI work. And so you go back and forth, but you have to model that. You have to model that with your students. You have to model that. So after we then have our persuasive piece, then after that, everybody submit that. You might mark it or you might not mark it, but then we turn that into a debate. That is what you mark. They need to take that, they need to take that essay. We're not telling them, go and create it into a script, because AI will do that for them. When they come with their essay, so we have those who are for uniforms, y'all go on this side. Those for not for uniforms, you go on that side. You have your essay in your hand, because that was their research. All right, let's debate. And then you show them their rubric. You ask Charlie to give you your rubric for that. Were they able to? And then see how they perform. But we have to consider what is the skill that we're going after. And let me tell you something. You do this a couple times inside your classroom, and then give them a prompt. Give them a prompt. It's a prompt. Yes, give them a writing prompt in your classroom, and you will see where their writing is starting to develop, because we gave them permission to go learn sentence structure from AI. We gave them permission to come back and try it out and hear other people's generation. You know, one of the things they will also notice, gee, my essay sounds just like their own. You know, they'll be like, I up next, and gee, they could think I cheat. Well, let me hurry up, make this change inside here. That's what we want, eh? But we have to remove the taboo and give them permission to. And once again, they do it home. Very good. Thank you so much for getting it done. At least you do it. Praise the Lord. Now let me see what you're coming to do inside the classroom with this information. All right. So a lot of information, right? A lot, and a lot of things that we need to consider as educators, right? And like I said, this is a very, once again, the gray period when it comes to AI use, and we can't afford to lose our minds and lose our sanity over certain things, especially when it comes to whether or not, what the children produce, and they just cheating on us. We have to find ways around it, and we know that authentic assessments is the way to go. But authentic assessments are the ones that work us the hardest when it comes to actual grading. That's the rubrics. That's having to listen to each of the presentations when all I could do is just mark, but we can't run away from the way that the world is going when it comes to AI and the access that we have to AI tools. So therefore, we need to ensure that we stay in the driver's seat as educators in terms of teaching children how to use the tool well. And so I'm just going to end this session really just talking a bit about how to integrate AI into critical thinking frameworks, because the thing is, right, that's one of the fears we have as educators, that AI is going to cause critical thinking to be decreased even more and more and more and more, because we know that it's very absent in some of our communities, right? Critical thinking in the adult communities. So even so, when we look at in the for students, we need to practice more critical thinking activities, but we can't run away from critical thinking with AI. So we're talking about embedding AI tasks within existing strategies. So we're just going to look at a few, the three strategies. First is the claim evidence reasoning. This is like um, our JPR type questions, where the CER model helps students to structure arguments by making a claim, supporting it with evidence, and explaining their reasoning. So you will have students ask an AI tool a question and let them take the answer as the claim. Then they would have to evaluate the evidence that AI uses and ask students to provide stronger or alternative evidence. We could also have them rewrite the reasoning in their own words. All right, so getting them to engage a little bit more, think about what it is that they gave you. I think one of the key things too is sometimes some of the topics that we asking the students to write on, they have it's not relevant to them. They have no interest in the topic. Who cares about I don't know, whatever the topic is. I can't even think about what. But if it's a topic that is not interesting to the students too, that also contributes to their lack of engagement with the work. Let AI do it, whatever they give me is what I will take. But if something that is meaningful and AI tools can help us to do it, help us to create them, help us to understand the likes and dislikes of our students a little bit more, then we could ask them to go and do research that they find engaging. Then we have the Bloom's taxonomy. So we can design prompts or tasks that uses higher level of Bloom's. So, and that's really pointing into our critical thinking. So like at the Bloom's level of apply, we can ask AI to solve a math problem and then apply the same method to a new problem. So we ask AI to do it just like we did earlier, and then the students will apply that method to a new problem. Analyze, at the analyze level, we could say use AI to explain an event from multiple perspectives. Once again, we're just looking at the historical, maybe something that is, let's say, something that would have happened in the past, historical. Let's talk about the Burma Road riot. You know, we usually see it from one perspective, but we ask AI now to generate this from multiple perspectives of persons who would have been involved. And then from that, we discuss. Then students, whenever they have to go and speak on it, they now have more understanding of what the persons during that time were experiencing. We have the Bloom's level of like evaluate, critique an AI written summary, right? And this is all part of modeling too. So we take a newspaper article, we send it up to AI in the class and say, summarize this for me in 300 words or less, 400 words or less, right? And they give us the output. And then we ask the students, do we think that this was a good summary? What could they have done differently? How could it be improved? What would you have written? But if we tell them go summarize, they could go do it. They could go to AI, let AI summarize it and submit it to you. But you do that. You go to AI, you bring out the summary and have them evaluate the summary. Right? And then you want them to create. So they could use AI to brainstorm and then build a unique project or story from that particular seed. So another example is you could ask ChatGPT to summarize a climate change article. Write your own summary and then compare the two. All right. So Bloom's taxonomy, looking at the higher levels. Let Chatty do the lower levels and then ask the students to apply the higher levels based off of what we got from the lower levels. Understood? We got that? Next, we're looking at metacognition. Metacognition. And when we talk about metacognition, that's what I was hinting to earlier. Having students reflect on how they learn, thinking about how they learn, what they know, and how they can improve. Have students reflect on their AI use by answering questions, their own AI use. What prompt did I use? And persons will like, what prompt did you use for that? And that's probably why you got that answer. I'm like, oh, okay. What worked? What didn't work? Did AI help me think deeper or just faster? How could I ask a better question next time? All right. And so these are things in terms of your application, in terms of getting students to not just to see the AI tool as just this big old answer generator, the answer to all of our problems, like how we think. And then just to end our session, what you should know, though, is there are some tools out there that or some frameworks that exist out there that can help you in terms of with that taboo, releasing that taboo. So this one is from Atopia. So you could give assignments and then you let them know. This assignment, students are encouraged to use AI. This one, you have to make sure that you get permission for AI, or this one here, no AI for this activity. When they start to see that, okay, there's some things that I will be able to use AI for and some things that I can't use AI for, that helps to remove the taboo. So like I said, different versions of these, and you could go and find one that is more applicable to you. The presentations you will have access to as well if you just want to take a look at these. But it will tell you, you could use AI to generate with AI, what that means, what the citation, what the example is. So these tools are here. And then this was another one too. I found what they call the AIAS, which is the assessment scale. Whether the assignment is a no AI assignment, it is an AI as a study tool, AI for idea generating, AI for assisted editing, AI for output evaluation, or you can use full AI inside it. And that brings us to the end of our session for AI for students. So the thing is, like I said, AI is here, and so are our students, and it's really our jobs. Our job is not to resist the future, but to help to reshape it for good. And we need to think about how we can prepare our own selves, for AI. And like I say, some things we're going to have to let it go, let it go, let it go. Let the students see that they have control over their learning. Pass the baton on. We keep saying our children lazy, they don't think for themselves, they don't do this, but AI is going to help us to put that steering wheel in their hands. Everyone won't adapt to it right away, but it can help. So thank you for joining our session. I'm going to drop the link for our last assessment inside there. I mean, you sit with us for half a day and you walk out here with 3 certificates. Excellent job. We had a full room for all 3 sessions, and I must say it was really good being with you here today. And like I said, within the upcoming school year, pay attention to your emails and whatever, when you see the things coming out with AI, because I'm excited to see what developments are going to happen over the summer. And then I will be back here in September, be like, guess what just came out? Guess what we could do now? Because it's just an exciting time. So once again, by the end of this week, you will all get a follow-up email from us. It will have the links to the recordings, but you should have the links to the recordings right inside this Teams chat where you are now, along with the maybe the link to the presentations, as well as the links to the evaluation form. So you could also share it with persons who may have missed the sessions and would want to view the sessions, as well as get the certificate. All right. So thank you once again. Thanks to my presentation team, such a wonderful team working with me with the presentations, and we look forward to engaging with you all in the future. So happy summer, everyone.